Today we're exploring shifting and finger weight. Welcome back. Welcome to the studio. My name is Cassie and I'm a professional violist and teaching artist. So today we're going to be talking about finger weight and shifting. And the two are actually very interrelated. First off, I want to start with an exercise, and that's going to involve us plopping our fingers on the string. Now we want to make sure that we're plopping from the base knuckle, which is your bottom knuckle, your lowest knuckle. And I like to tell my students it's like a baby waves. So this is where we're going to be plopping from. And this actually gives us the most power and the most energy. So when I go to playing position, I'm going to take my third finger on the D string and I'm going to practice lifting from that base knuckle and then plopping down into the string. Now when I land into the string, you'll notice that you're going to hear a sound. And as soon as I plop into the string, it's almost like touching a hot stove. I'm going to plop and then immediately release. So I'll come a little closer. Plop and release, plop and release. So we can do this with every finger on every string as a warm-up, but right now I want to warm up with a D major scale. So I'm going to plop my first finger, second finger, third finger on the D string and the A string. Let's try that. So remember, lift from that base knuckle, plop 1, 2, 3, A string, 1, 2, 3. Let's try the same thing in reverse. We're starting from third finger on the A string and going down to open D. 3, 2, 1, A, 3, 2, 1, D. Now, obviously, we're not going to play like that for real. That's just an exercise to do. I want to isolate that base knuckle to make sure that I'm able to plop from there. And once you feel like that's comfortable, we can go to our next step. So our next step, now that we've got that finger weight activated, is going to be shuttling. So similarly, I'm going to be in playing position, and I'm going to use my third finger to start out with, and I'm using harmonic weight. So that's where my finger doesn't plop into the string. It's just going to sit on top of the string. You might want to imagine it like an ice skate, and it's skating on the surface of the string. So I'm going to go from first position all the way up to where my palm touches and back again. I'm just shuttling between those two positions. And you should hear a whooshing sound if you're doing it correctly. If you start to hear a clicking sound, you're pushing into the string, and we don't want to do that. We want to be nice and light, sitting on top of the string. If you're having a hard time doing that shuttling, you can grab a tissue, and I'm going to actually just lay it over the neck and practice that same exercise with the tissue. It's almost like you're polishing your string. And this helps your finger be nice and loose. So once you've got that motion down, you can obviously use the tissue as long as you need to. You can put your tissue away, and we're going to try that same motion. This is a very big motion, then I'm going to make it smaller and smaller and smaller until I'm shuttling and hovering around first position. I'm going to show you that from the other side so you can see what my thumb is doing. If your thumb is not following along with the rest of your hand, that's going to create problems too. So I want to show you from the other side as well. So notice what my thumb does. It comes with my hand, and the motion is from my whole forearm. And last but very important, we want to be on the fingertip, not the flat. If you find yourself on the flat of your finger, bring your elbow underneath the instrument more so that your whole hand can be on the fingertip. We're going to do one additional exercise, and it's harmonic weight fingers. So it's almost combining the two things that we just did. We're going to use the weighted finger that we did for those shuttling exercises, so I'm sitting on top of the string, not pushing into the string. And I'm going to use my bow to actually make a sound this time. So set your bow on the string and find where your 3 usually goes. We can actually play a G, third finger on the D string. And now in that same exact position, just don't push the string down. You're going to sit with your finger on top of the string. And that produces a whistling sound, or that's where our third finger harmonic goes. Let's try that again. Sitting right on top of that string. Now if you're struggling to find where that harmonic goes, you could just be in like a millimeter out of place where that third finger should be. So watch as I kind of mess around on the fingerboard what happens to that harmonic sound. So if you're not in the exact right place, you notice how easy it is to be, you're just going to miss that harmonic by a little bit. So what we're going to do now is we're going to transition between a normal finger weight into a harmonic weight. So put your third finger on the D string where it usually goes, and we're going to play that note as we usually would with a weighted finger. And then slowly take that weight out and just listen to what happens. Until we end up with a harmonic. Let's try that one more time. So I'm pushing in, I'm squishing into that marshmallow, and then ever so slightly releasing until my finger sits on top of the string. So starting with a weighted finger, and then release, until you end up with a harmonic. So now that we've got those 3 exercises figured out, we're going to combine them. We're going to do some sirens. So I'm going to be on the D string again, and I'm going to play my first finger E, my third finger G, and then I'm going to use my first finger with harmonic weight to shift between them. So I'll demonstrate. I'm playing E, G, and then using my first finger with harmonic weight, I'm going to almost slide into where that G usually is. So let's try that together. I'm playing E, G, harmonic weight in between. Now the reason we want to play 1 and 3 first before beginning is we want to know where we're shifting to. And this helps guide your ear, and it helps your finger guide to where it should be in the correct part of the fingerboard, because we don't have frets. Let's try that one more time. Playing first finger, third finger, now slide between. Notice that I'm going very slow in between those 2 notes. We don't want to go too fast because we're going to overshoot where that note is. And I'm also training my finger to know what the distance is between my 1 and my 3. Let's try that again. 1, 3, shift between. Double check, did your forearm lead that shift, and did your thumb come along for the ride? You want to make sure that that motion we use for shuttling is the same exact motion you're using here, it's just in a more concentrated space. Alright, so we've practiced our bass knuckle plops, we've practiced our shuttles, and we've practiced sirens, or sounding that shift. So obviously you're going to have to do that a couple, maybe 100 times, and I'm not even joking about that. It's probably a couple 100 times before you get comfortable feeling that distance between first position and third position, or where your 3 usually was. So assuming that you've done that 100 times, we're going to practice that without sounding the shift. So I'm going to complete everything, but just not sounding that siren bit of it. So I'm going to play my first finger again, my third finger, and then silently shift between. And see, did I match that pitch? Was it the same as what my third finger sounded like? You can also check with your open G string, which is that string below. Let's try it again. 3, silently shift. That sounds like my open G, and it had a nice ringing quality, so I know that that's in tune and I've hit where third position is. So technically you could shift with any finger on any string to any position, but we like to start with a shift between first position and third position because that's really common for us as violists. If you wanted to practice one more, like a bonus exercise, this one's kind of fun. Once you've got that shuttling motion, we're going to evolve that into what I call a ski jump. So I'm going to be in first position with my first finger on the A string, and I'm going to go all the way to the end of my fingerboard and then jump off at the end with a little pluck. So I'm in first position, my thumb follows and traces under the neck, stays connected on the fingerboard, and I pluck as I release. Now it's really important that your thumb stays in contact with the instrument at all times. If my thumb falls off, I've got no guide and no support. So I want my thumb, guided by my elbow, to swing underneath the instrument, and there will be a point where you have to come to the side of the neck, not underneath the neck. So watch where that is for me. It's pretty much almost as soon as I leave, so that I have enough kind of leverage to get over and under the instrument and make it to the end of the fingerboard. So let's try that together. First position, thumb under the neck, and then thumb tracing the side of the neck, and you can pluck off at the end. Do that one more time. Thumb under, on the side, and pluck off at the end. Now my younger students really like to say wee when they leave, imagining that it's really actually a ski jump. So let's try that, why not? First position, thumb under, and as you pluck, wee! You made it all the way to the end. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you found these tips useful. If you have any comments or other tips that you really enjoy for finger weight or for shifting, please post those below and share with our community. Happy practicing!